Hey guys, welcome back to my gloves. Ugh, it's been out loud. Sorry. Welcome back to Mike Loves Fanfic. There we go. So I finally get back into the reading mode, and it's time for me to read another one across multiverse one shot. I read already the NCW one shot. Now I'm just gonna go back to regular one shot. So today I'm reading a regular one shot called At the Beginning. This is nice that we're gonna have a different one shot because this is about the ultimate beginning to BLB. The show, Canada version, is pre-season one, but ton of shenanigans, still some plans views, and 10,000 words. So this is all sets before the show began, before the start of the show began, before it exists. So the note right here, this is the prompt that they had suggested. What if Allura and Coran woke up early and then went to Earth to search for the Blue Lion? They infiltrate Garrison and alien/human shenanigans ensue. So that's a really good prompt to use. And this is written in June 2019, so they wrote this one shot. So let's get to the summary. Okay. From the moment she fell out of the pod, Larry knew that nothing would ever be the same. Alone in her father's castle ship, with no one but Coran at her side, she sets out to do one thing that she knows will save the universe from Zarka's tyranny. Find the Lions, find Paladins, ignite Voltron once more. Being the most calm and accepting of the fight, they decide to find the Blue Lion first, though they can't pinpoint her exact location. They find out she's been hidden on a faraway planet called Earth, inhabited by beings who have yet to explore the universe. Not want to frighten or alarm the Earthlings, Allura and Coran decide to infiltrate the closest government facility in search of information, a place called the Garrison. Nice thing to be interested about. So yeah, this is all significant. This is way before the season one started. So something like a prologue. All right, without further ado, let's read this one. So no time to waste. A different beginning. And your son, the blue lion is here, princess, Coran asked, flicking through the data that's cluttering the large hall span from the bridge. So many things. Pictures, reports, history, logs. So many cultures, so many landscapes, so many diverse people, all living on one planet. And it seems they don't have a single monarch, nor do they have kingdoms, countries, each ruled in their own way, everyone existing together. It hasn't been all peaceful. Although I've seen the brief reports of war throughout the past few centuries, tensions are rising even now. They fight like children on a planet that's become too small for them. But seeing things that give her hope too. Peaceful interaction between countries, between people. This race, humanity, they have potential. They have so much, but they're still so young. I am. She stands at the window, having abandoned the long, endless feed of information once her head started to pound. She left the ground to shuffle through, moving to gaze down at the planet instead. She's seen many planets while traveling with her father, but each one is unique in its own way. This Earth is beautiful, blues and greens, wisps of white across the atmosphere, so different from Australia. But looking through pictures and videos has given her a pang of homesickness all the same. It's an aid she's managed to avoid facing so far, one that she needs to keep buried until the edge of it grows dull, lest she lose sight of her new mission. The universe needs her now. It needs Voltron. Her and Coran, they're the last hope. She can't let everyone down really because she misses her home, even if she does a lot. I feel like a white hot ball of barbs that's stuck fast in her chest, dug in deep during her daily. She rubs her cheek. It still feels bruised from where she hit the ground when she fell out of the healing pod. What a terrible way to wake up. Disoriented, alone, cold, afraid. Finding herself in a hollow empty castle that was once bright and lively, star of the universe, still timeless. but now a shell of what it once was. 10,000 years. Her home, her people, her father, gone. All gone. The Gara more powerful than ever. The Empire still raging across the universe. Zarka still reigning despite the long years. It had been a lot to take in, a lot to handle. She can't say she did it all with grace. It had been hard, but she clung to two bright spots in the darkness that threatened to consume her, Coran and Voltron. The fact that Zarka hadn't found the lion's hit is a miracle in and of itself, one that Allura fully intends to take advantage of. She'll continue her father's legacy. She'll avenge her people and take down the Gaul Empire. She'll set things right. All she needs are the lions and a new team. What a brilliant planet on the right to hide a lion on, Cran mumbles, not without some awe. Why is that? Everything we see here, Cran says, gesturing to the screen, is all new. The inhabitants of this planet have only made these technological strides in the last few millennia. At the time, the blue line would have been placed on this planet. It would have been wild and full of any sort of intelligent life, at least in that Zarkon would be interested. A pure planet, full of anything beneficial of the Gora Empire, save resources, I suppose. The planet is rich now, but there would have been no locals to help mine such resources. And all the way out here in the fringes of the universe, who knows how long it would have taken them to find it. And now, he throws his arms back, grinning wide as eyes flicker over Beovich. The inhabitants, these humans, what a silly name, are thriving. A whole planet's wealth of civilization built up around the blue line without them ever knowing. So none of them have found the blue line, Laura asks, here as she makes her way to Cran's side. Bowsbury, even in all this time, I can't find a single report or documentation of the mechanical blue line anywhere in her core history. If she's renowned, she's been kept hidden. He turns to her then, voice over. Do you think you could pinpoint her location now that we're closer? She nods, short and quick. Decisive, stubborn will hardening her features and pride pulling her head up high. Yes, I'm certain I can. Until she had tried, prompted by Cran, she hadn't been certain she would be able to find any of the lines. She's never done so before. There had always been someone else, like her father, to man the ship's helm, to tap into the sentient energy that runs through the cast ship, to hone in on the line's energy and connect. She hadn't been sure she'd be able to, and she's been afraid to try. But with Coran's encouragement, she had, and it had worked. She felt her consciousness expand the universe, tugged through the dark void along color lines, pulled toward the familiar energy of the lines, of Voltron, all the while encouraged silently by Black, locked deep within the castle ship. Consciousness not connected with her own, but giving her a gentle push all the same. She had hoped to find her father's line first, but red remained a mystery. Her thread was weak and unstable, almost unwilling to be found, but the yellow, green, and blue threads blazed. After some research, they decided to pursue the blue line first. Not only was she the most accepting, but the planet she was hidden on was the furthest from Gora influence. A good place to start. Blair nods once more, a determined and excited fire stealing her heart against the day. Right, she says, short and clear. Let's go find Blue. Wait, Princess. She pauses on her way to Dale. I think it would be unwise to fly the castle ship any closer to the surface, lest we be spotted. She raises an eyebrow and takes a half step to gesture the oceans. This race, from what I've gathered, they're growing and they have potential, but they're still young. They only just started place exploration, and they only barely managed to scrape the outer reaches of their own solar system. More than that, it seems they do not believe, on a wide or official scale, that intelligent alien life exists. Both eyes grew up with that. They're ignorant enough to believe they're alone in the universe? It seems that way, Princess. Shams, thoughtful and straight, eyes from over the sway of mission. They only got as close as they dared, close enough to hack into one of the nearby roving satellites to access the network information the planet has at their disposal. Preparing for quite a rude up wake call, she thinks. Aloud, she says, so if we show ourselves, it might not only cause a panic, but make getting to Wuhan more difficult. That is my belief, Princess, she frowns, excitement and anticipation souring to nibbling teeth irritation. How shall we distract her then? Might I suggest some good old-fashioned alternate infiltration? There's a mischievous gleam in Cran's gaze, a smile playing at his lips, ellipses his whole face, currently at crow's feet at the edges besides. We can find the closest establishment to the Blue Line's whereabouts to take one of the smaller cruiser pods down to the surface, leaving our ship on the dark side of the planet's moon. Infiltrate the society, learn about them, find the line. Alert's initialization continues. We need paladins, Princess. They don't believe aliens exist, Cran. True, perhaps they're not made of the right stuff to be paladins, but maybe they are. It's good places any begin our search. At this point, she says, very well. First, she focuses in on the video, taking a moment to really observe these people, these humans. She's kept herself separated from them, mentally and emotionally, building up a wall to keep her from acknowledging the fact that makes a sore spot in her heartache. But now she doesn't think she can turn from it. Hey, Coran. Yes, Princess? They kind of look old hands, don't they? His features soften as he turns away from her to the screen. Then she hears her. I mean, obviously, there are differences. The ears, for one, are hideous. They have no markings, and for what I've gathered, they have none of the natural abilities we have. But, but they have the same basic shape, 5 fingers and 5 toes. Similar facial features, a variety of skin tones and eye colors and hair types. If she squints, if she ignores the obvious differences, she can almost pretend that she's home. But, she continues softer, they're close enough to be confident, don't you think? Corin's voice is merely whispering. I do, Princess. I think it will be good to be among people again. And that's when she realizes, despite all his endless enthusiasm and positive attitude, despite the strength and willingness he's exuded, pushing them both forward, holding her spirits up. And behind it all, Corin is just as lonely as she is. He has that same ache. Hey, Corin. Yes, Princess. Let's go to So yeah, Coran and Laura have researched some stuff about this planet called Earth. And they should know it by now because there's mostly humans here. We have the same face, we have 5 fingers, 5 toes, and I can't show you this one, but give me just the iPad. So I can't no screen, but I'll show you. This I can't reach that high because I don't into high stuff. But anyways, yeah, whatever. So I have 5 toes and 5 hands. That's where they're going. And the first blue pal, the first blue lion, is at Earth. So she got out of the pod, the healing pod. But yeah, she trapped in this big giant castle of that where they landed on. That, that's the adventure they wanted to go there and find Alice, but first they had to find the blue lion. So yeah, this is where everything has started. Yeah, maybe so, maybe no. Who knows? All right, let's move on here. You know, when Lance upgraded from card class to fire class, he saw for sure that there will be a heck of a lot less classroom-oriented lessons, more, action. Boy, was he wrong. Turns out there's an equal amount of lessons to go with actual simulations. Some they're actually teaching them what to do and theories and blah 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 before they try it out in the cockpit. Whatever. Lance sighs, not for the first time in the past hour, and slumps over the table. One elbow propped up, cheek smushed in his palm. His gaze drifts to the window. He taps his pen on the desk until his desk mate gives him a hard glare. So he glares right back and moves the tapping to his bed. Classroom settings have never really been his thing. They're boring and his mind wanders, and focus is just hard to come by. It used to be easier back in flight school before they got divided up into specialty classes. Back then, he had been in his class. Freaking Keith. As annoying as the guy is, and Lance hates to admit this into himself. So don't tell anyone, okay? He can maybe sometimes, occasionally, admit that he kind of made him better. Not that he's not already the best, okay? Lance is great. He's going to be the next top fighter pilot Garrison has ever seen. And that kind of talent has nothing to do with Keith coming. It's just with Keith around, it seemed easier to focus. It's just so annoying. With his stupid hair, stupid look, and stupidly soft looking. With his stupid comebacks, always sharp and keeping Lance on his toes. It was fun, okay? With his stupid pouty face. Can't you learn to smile? Lance always thought he'd be the first to make him crack grin. But no, guy had to go and get himself expelled before that could happen. Whatever, Lance is over it. Point is, Lance wanted to beat him. They were rivals. I was fighting for the top spot, and stupid Key was so good at everything he ever tried. So Lance just had to try harder, had to fight harder. There was a reason to pay attention in class, and weirdly enough, it was easy to focus when it was glaring at the back of Key's stupid head or doodling comics about him getting his butt kicked in the margins of his notes. It was gonna say Key give him a reason to be better or try harder or whatever, but it didn't kind of make it easier. Made Lance feel driven. He didn't say frick you and fricking try. Without him, class is just boring. It doesn't help that now he's in fire class, so not even Hug is around to keep him company and on task. He tried starting up a rivalry with James Griffin, but it just wasn't the same. Felt like a cheap knockoff of what he and Keith had, and James never stepped up to his jobs like he did. No fun. Don't get me wrong, he's freaking jazzed to be in fire class. The whole cargo pilot thing was a huge blow to his ego and his dreams. So the upgrade to fire class is everything he's ever wanted. It's just kind of maybe sort of wishes it hadn't come at the expense of Keith getting knocked out. Dumb, stupid Keith. Hot-headed ace in the hole. Impulsive, stubborn, irrational, violent. Just kind of admired that spark in Keith. That fire in his eyes, that venom in his tongue, the way he looked straight at the world, at everything, and said, frick you before doing things his way. He fought the fire, met everything head on. Lance kind of really likes that about him. Do not tell Keith that. Another side slips out. He lost track of them by now. He barely registers when they escape. He stares out the window at the desert sky, all bright and blue. He knows by sunset, the same sky will be bathed in fire, like Keith's fire. He wonders if Keith ever misses this place, if he ever regrets, ever thinks about it, if he ever thinks about how Lance, his rival, is too. Probably doesn't. The ace in the hole, probably off on some adventure. Hot wiring cars and chasing down pavement. Lance hopes he calms down and gets his stuff together. He hopes he's okay. He hopes he trips and falls and bruises his knee and remembers that time Lance chased into the similar and he tried to pull up some ninja move and ended up busting up his knee despite winning. He didn't smile that day, but he came close. Lance was kind of proud of that. The sound of the door pulls him from his thoughts, brings him back to the moment as he turns and sees the most beautiful girl he's ever seen walking into their classroom. His jaw drops. Dark skin, bright blue eyes that kind of sparkle in the light, kind of look like a pink, long, white, thick hair. And the way she walks, Her stride even and pace purposeful. The way she holds her head up high, her back straight. The way she sweeps into the classroom without apology, marching right up to the professor but waiting patiently before handing him a note. The way she looks around the room, taking them all in, gaze unflinching. Not at all bashful, kind of stubborn and sure and confident. There's a spark in her, a fire. Kind of reminds him of class. This is our new student and member of the fire class, Allura Altea. She bows, freaking bows, voice lilting and beautiful as she says, "It's a pleasure to meet all of you." Lance feels his heart twist, chest aching, breath coming short. It's not the same as, stop going there, McLean. What he felt for Kate was a good old-fashioned hot-blooded rivalry. This is different. This is new and exciting. Kate isn't here anymore, but this allure is. He'll gladly take this direction. There's some sort of this little competition that Lance knows had this little thought in his mind. But yeah, look, I mean, in the Lance point of view, it was like, look, he's trying to one up on me. If he thinks he's going to one up the competition, I will one up him as well. I will one up on him as well. So yeah, this rivalry probably like the ace in the hole, taking taking German from the MIB ace in the hole. There's a video for that on my main channel. Anyways, yeah, Keith's gone, and I don't know what kind of behavior is Keith doing, but that would definitely stay the same. Well, they changed something for Lance, and then there's Aurora coming, and she comes from from another world, from another planet, comes down to Earth to find this place to get the Allura. Again, this is the very beginning of it, well, alternate beginning of what the show is supposed to be. What will be the premise of this season one look like? So this is different. All right, let's move on. I don't know, man. It's just doesn't look right. Hong Kong is slow, trying to get on island with a lump of green goo on his plate. Hesitantly, delicately, the book at it with a spoon. It wobbles precariously, maybe longer than it should. Have you ever seen anything like this? Huh? Lance says, flicking out of the daze. He turns, sitting up a little straighter, confusion in his eyes. Anything like what? Hunk doesn't mind. He used to Lance's mind drifting. It's just part of it as his certified best friend. Hunt takes it all in stride, just like Lance doesn't mind when he rambles. This new food goo? Like, I know it looks like goo, but the menu even says food goo. Who labels their food as goo? So, oh man, Lance shrugs, slouching over the table, elbow resting on it and chin in his palm. He pokes up the goo idly, but isn't even looking at it. His gaze has already shifted across the cafeteria. What you think of a new girl? Who? He moves to a different angle, poking the goo again. He yields the same wicked result. Weird. Allura, man, I told you, the new pilot in the fire class, she's gorgeous. He says, and oh boy, Hunk knows that side. He's not sure if it's a good thing, but at least he's not doing that mopey sigh that's been filling all of their silences since Key. Do you think she wants to sit with us? So no, you could ask her. He scoops up some food goo, holding it close to his face, as he narrows his eyes skeptically. He sniffs it and, huh, doesn't really smell that much. Weird. I can't just ask her. Why not? He glanced around. But the others in the campus seem to be just as hesitant about the food goo as he is. Can't find a single person actively eating it. Because I had to be smooth about it. You have a natural charm, Lance. Stop overthinking it. He says as he stands, scooping his plate into one hand while the other pats Lance back. Where are you going? I'm going to see if I can talk with the new cook about this food. I want to know what's in it. Right. Good luck. And Lance, yeah, I'm glad you're not moping over Key anymore. Lance sputters, face going red as his eyes shoot wide. Sounds stuttering out of him before they gain up traction to full words. I was not moping over Key. I'm I'm glad he's gone. Hogwarts already trained. Anything you say, buddy? Good luck with Allura. He leaves Lance huffing on his own, weaving his way through the cafeteria to where swing double doors lead back into the kitchen. He hovers nearby for a moment, looking around for anyone who might try to stop him from going somewhere he shift. But the coast is clear, so he hurries forward, slipping past the doors and closing them quickly. It's not the first time he snuck into the kitchen to talk with the cooks, but it's not exactly a place where the cadets are allowed. Letting out a small sigh of relief, it turns. Hey, so I just wanted to ask about. He cuts off abruptly as something is thrown his way. It's only now through sheer panic that he's able to throw himself to the side, fast enough to avoid it. He stares, wide-eyed and mouth agape, at the green splotch of goo stuck to the door where he's been standing. Ah, comes an unfamiliar voice, heavily accented with full. Perfect. He turns to find someone he's never seen before. A man with a head of bright orange hair and an equally vibrant mustache, dressed in his school uniform. Sorry about that, my boy, continues, standing up straight, one hand on his hip while the other brandishes a large spoon with green good debris. He waves it around as he talks. I was just testing the viscosity of the goo. I didn't see you there. Um, Hung glanced back to the goo on the door. It definitely hasn't moved since the spider. And it's not moving. It's a good thing? Of course. The man spins back, striding to his workstation at the stove. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to recreate Gugu in texture and nutritional density with the local ingredients, but things seem to be working out splendidly. Hunt takes a few more steps into the room, gaze from over the mess. Pots and pans are scattered everywhere, vegetables and other food products massacred beyond recognition. Goo in various stages sticks to most things. And there's not another cook or assistant in sight. So the goo part is on purpose? Of course, the man scoops, glances over his shoulder and pointing his spoon off. Fruit goo is one of the most nutritionally packed foods in the known universe. Perfect for glowing bodies and warriors. It stores well, lasts forever, and you can make it in large batches. Right, Hunk says slowly, not bothering to hide his skepticism. Where's everyone else? Man scoops again, rolling his eyes and rolling the spoon. Send them out. They were in a way and offered no constructive feedback. So, he leans forward, expression, bright eyes, and swim. How is it? I don't know. And now he's trapped because the cook is staring at him all open and hopeful, and Hunk really doesn't like disappointed people. So, swallowing his apprehension, he lifts a spoon of goo, squeezes shut, takes in breath, and shoves it in his mouth. The texture is weird, like a strange mix of oatmeal, jello, and pudding. He tries to eat it fast, but it's sticking, coats his tongue, and he wasn't really sure what to expect it to taste like given its bright green color, but huh. He cracked an eye open, looking down at the goo curiously. It's actually not bad. The man possibly beams, and Hunk takes another bite. Now that he's prepared for the texture, it's not bad at all, though it can still can't really place the flavor. What's it made out of? Not totally sure. The man admits, gesturing to his wide array of ingredients. Don't know the words of most of these, and that's a little weird. But so far, everything about this guy has been kind of out there and eccentric. So at this point, Honk isn't really expressed. He has an accent, so maybe it just doesn't know the translated words. Do you maybe need a little help? Honk offers, hesitant but hopeful. He was like cooking. His family has always been really big on it. Cooking is what brought them together. It was a family time, and he missed it. He doesn't get to cook while at Garrison, and everyone usually shoos him out before he gets a chance to offer to help. But his new cook looks at him like Hunk just named the day. I love some help, my boy. Do you have any experience? I have some, he says with a small smile, scratching his cheek. And I think I have some ideas to make this goo a little more uh, appetizing. Well, I love to hear them. Throws out a hand, try to stuff beneath his knees. Name's Coran. Hunk smiles and takes his hand away, giving it a firm shake. I'm Hunk. They're in set of this cafeteria, and then there's Allura coming its way and just sit down and eat the food, but Lan doesn't know this archaic thing like first and just talk the way out. Ahang says, you know what? Talk talk to her. Maybe Allura likes Lance back. I don't know. And then Lance and Hunk both went on separate ways, and then Hunk experienced with this new cook here. I think this is Karan, which we know that. So Karan has been given out a lot of goo, which is this concoction of this goo is like really tastes weird. I mean, why they have like a goo? Oh, because the Zaltian thing. That's what they're cooking. That's a really weird taste when someone cook with that look like a goo. Yeah, no one likes to eat goo, but Altians do. So Hunk has a little way to make this little goo to be more appetizing for everyone, not just the Altian, but the humans too. Cran and Hunk on the one side, and then Lance and Laura on the other. So we've seen Cran and Hunk on the one side. Now let's get to Lance and Laura. See how their conversation is going. Lance is on his way past the rec room when a flash of white catches his eye. Backpedaling fast enough that he needs to grab the doorframe to keep from falling over. His eyes lock onto the dark room, to a couch pushed up against a window that looks out over the surrounding desert. Allura sits there, legs pulled up onto the couch, twisted sideways, one elbow laid out over the back of the couch, cheek in her palm as she gazes up at the night sky. He hesitates for just a moment. The past few minutes have been, well, not really going according to plan. Allura seems immune to even his best pickup lines. Sometimes she laughs, but the meaning of them seems to fly right past her. Sometimes she openly, bluntly, and quite frankly, brutally rebuffs him. The worst, however, is when she just stares, absorbed confused, or when she gives him the most unamused deadpan look before sight. It's in those times that she reminds him of, nope, stop going to him clean. He's gone, and there's nothing you can do about it. Back to the matter at hand, his efforts to woo her have been pretty terrible. As far as you can tell, she actually does enjoy his presence when he's being friendly. But anything beyond that, and well, it's not exactly pretty. He wants to go say hi, maybe drop a little line about the stars in her eyes, like he does every time he sees her around the Garrison. But right now, there's something that makes him hesitant. There's a sort of melancholy air about her, some kind of deep sea sorrow that fills the space around her, immune to the voices and laughter around her, despite being in a large room with plenty of other cadets. She looks completely and utterly alone. It makes his heart ache with something entirely new. Not infatuation and his budding crush, but something closer to home, something that resonates deep inside him. He hesitates for only a moment before ducking through the door, moving straight through the room before pausing in front of her. Hey, Laura, she starts, head whipping around to blink up at him. Wide-eyed before recognition flickers across her features. Oh, hello, Lance, she says, immediately relaxing. He takes some pride in that. What are you doing here? I saw you sitting by yourself and thought, trails off, shrugging shoulders. Hands shoved deep in his pockets, he makes a show of looking around the room. Nonchalant, cool, even as much that maybe he could use a friend. He doesn't know why that feels vulnerable to say, but he doesn't have time to regret it. She sighs, head turned back to the window. I suppose I could, mind if I join you? By all means, she gestures to couch beside her. He sits on the other end, keeping the cushion of space between them. He just feels like she needs it. There's just something about her right now. There's a pickup line on the tip of his tongue, but it catches and dies. What comes out instead is, what's on your mind? Softer than intended. More open, more genuine, more gentle and less cocky and confident. Thankfully, it has the desired effect. She sighs again, curling tighter, eyes never leaving the dark sky as she says, just looking at the stars. He feels there's nothing more to that, more she's trying to say. So he pulls his legs up onto the couch, facing her, mirroring her position as he waits. The stars, they're very different from where I'm from. Phantoms. Get that. Took me a while to get used to where the constellations. It's the same sky, but it just feels different when you're away from home, you know? Yeah, she says softly. Very much so. Ah, there. Right there. Finally clicks. Slides right into place. The piece he hadn't quite been able to figure out. The thing that's been making his heart ache for the moment he saw her sitting there. Heavy atmosphere makes him feel open and vulnerable all at once, stripping away his cocky mask and fragile confidence like they're nothing but dust in the wind. Homesickness. He may not know a lot about Laura yet, but this is something he can relate to. Where are you from? The gentle prod, opening the door and allowing her to step through if she wishes. It takes her a moment, eyes shimmering, the ghost of a sad smile on her lips as she whispers, very far away. Yeah, me too. She looks at him and cares. You? He nods. I'm from Cuba. It it could be worse. And most of my family lives around here now, but I still miss it. I miss the beach and the people and the sunset, the stars. But he smiles at his own gaze moving to the window, to the stars twinkling in a blanket of night overhead. It's worth it to be here. No matter how much I miss it, I'm glad I'm here. Long pause. He doesn't look at her, but he can feel the weight of her gaze. Calculating, considering, thoughtful. Finally, she turns away. Yes, I suppose I feel much the same way. Is this your first time being away from home? Yes, in a way. Her head is still turned away, but in the reflection in the window, her eyes look dizzy and clouded. It feels like I was there just yesterday. Sometimes it feels like I can still smell of juniperberries and hear my father's voice. What are juniperberries? Can't help but ask. It seems like a lighter topic in a way, and it does get her to smile, small and sweet. A flower where I'm from. They're beautiful. I like to see one sometime. I see. I'll see if I can find new pictures. They fall into a silence that is entirely comfortable, but isn't entirely strained. It's a strange sort of thing. It feels heavy, and the silence is thick and weighted. But it doesn't feel on edge. There's a pleasant sort of companionship echoing in the space between them, the kind born from kindred souls, accompanying misery. It feels like their own bubble here, far and distant, and from the conversational din of the rec room. Allura is the first to break it, speaking low and thoughtful, almost to herself, voice straight inside. The worst part, the worst part is that I never got to properly say goodbye to my home, to my father, to anyone. Ah, there's that ache again. That strange sort of ache that resonates something deep inside his chest. Something he doesn't like facing. I I get that, he says, slowly, carefully, parsing through the feelings being dredged up from his core. scared to put labels on them, but facing them nonetheless. It's it's not the same. At least I don't think it is. I just I recently lost someone I care about, and I didn't get to say goodbye. Laura blinks, look into him, whispering, "Are they? No, 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 they're not." He swallows hard. No, he's not like gone like that. It's just he left. He left and didn't say anything, and I probably shouldn't be surprised. And I just thought maybe I was more important to him, you know? But he didn't give me the chance to say goodbye or stop him or anything. She reaches out, shifting to lay a hand on the arm that's wrapped around his drawn up knees. He doesn't realize his hands are clenched into fists until her touch draws attention to them. When he looks at her, startled, she smiles, softens a bit. I'm sorry your relationship had to end that way. I'm sorry you didn't get to say goodbye. She's still kind of genuine in her sympathy. Lance chokes. Relationship? Pulls back, hands flying up and waving around in the air. Eyes wide as his heart hammers painfully against hers. No, 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 no. It wasn't. Not like that.
It was just like my rival, a boy I fought with a lot, and we're kind of maybe, I don't know, friends in the weird way. We weren't dating. Oh, she says, blinking in surprise. Her smile is back, still sad but partially amused. There's something wicked in her eyes. Well, I'm sorry for your crush, laughed before he could say goodbye. That's Lance clears his throat, sitting straighter, dropping his feet to the floor as he crosses his arms over his chest. He shakes his head violently. We're not talking about this. Nope. Nuh-uh.
He says that, lips pursed into a firm line as he holds out hands for her. She stares at her, bewildered, amusement fading her confusion. When she looks back at him, Lance smiles, small, gentle, allowing himself to push aside whatever those drugged up feelings are to get back to that soft vulnerability once more. Come on, he says. I have some face masks in my room. She tilts her head, brows furrowing. Why will we need those? Because I found the best way to deal with homesickness is to talk to someone about it. And the face mask is just relaxing and good for your skin. Come on, he says again, shaking his head to draw attention. You can tell me about where you're from, and I'll tell you about Cuba. She hesitates, but only for a moment. Then she taking his hand and smiling, something small, something vulnerable.
Something cracked and threatening to break, but something strong, something grateful. I think I like that. Thank you, Lance.
So, all of a sudden, my video that I was recording, supposed to record for like the whole thing, it was somehow corrupted. But I managed to do half of the thing that I was going to read. So, I'm gonna have to record the second half of this pic and then we'll get done. But before I do that, we'll explain what was the last part. Oh, is there a crack? I think it was cracked there. So the last time it happened, it was a bad crack or something. Okay, let me try this again. I think I broke something here. Hold on. Oh, I didn't broke it. Anyway, so but anyways. So the recap for this is that Lance had to finally meet with Allura just to meet up with yeah, with Allura. I mean the relationship between Allura and doesn't quite get along at all, but they have something in common that they have never had to say goodbye because one of them left. Well, Allura left father either somehow died somewhere in that distance and he never got himself to say goodbye because they play because no her father placed them on the pods and they just left. And for Lance, I've been in this relationship key for like time, but he forgot to say but Lance forgot to say Keith goodbye because Lance was no Keith was expelled from Garrison at the Garrison. mean, they do have this relationship, but as friendship. So yeah, they are ended up being in friendship zone. Well, friends, not friendship zone, friendship. All right. So without any further much ado, and hopefully this other had a bit doesn't get cropped as well. So let's just continue on with the other half. So listen, Paige has a lot of respect for people who are crafty, creative, and a little bit crazy. People who can pull off their plans simply because they were willing to take the risk. If she didn't, it would be a little hypocritical. She has some begrudging respect for Lance, who, despite all of his cockiness and frustrating overconfidence, is actually really good at sneaking in and out of Garrison. She's seen his methods and she's not exactly impressed, but they work. And for that, she can respect them. How he manages to get in and hung out weekly without being caught is a mystery, but it's one she doesn't really care to solve. After all, they're not friends. In fact, they're barely teammates. Just a couple of misfits clumped together into a mockery of a trio. The cocky pilot who always crashes while trying to show off, the engineer who gets nervous and motion sick, and the young, small navigator who can't reach any of the buttons. She's pretty sure Iverson would put them together to laugh at them. Anyway, point is, for all of Lance's faults, she respects his shameless drive, creativity, and fearlessness in the face of risk. She respects that one cadet too. Cogni, she thinks his name was, the one who punched a teacher and hotwired a hover bike after he got kicked out. She even has some respect for him, who, despite his worrisome nature, has snuck into Garrison kitchen after dark and stolen away snacks that he shared with them on more than one occasion. One is, when a heist of any kind is pulled off, Paige can respect that. What annoys her is when something is done so sloppily and yet no one seems to notice. She at least stabs at the food goo on her plate, lip curling in disgust as she glances across the cafeteria. Lan's sitting with that new girl, Allura, chatting away, and she knows Hunk is back in the kitchen with the new cook, Coran. She glares at the back of Allura's head, eyes staring on the peak of pointed ears from beneath her hair. Irritation itches beneath Pitch's skin. It's so glaringly obvious that Laura and Coran don't belong here. They arrive on the same day out of nowhere. Laura is placed into the fighter class, which was full. Coran gets a position as a cook that wasn't even open. If that weren't suspicious enough, they have different names, but are obviously familiar with one another. It just caught them whispering, covertly and urgently in chorus, only to get too loud and too jumpy when caught. After a very quick and very easy search through the Garrison's records, she found that there was never any applications for either, and they didn't exist on record until the day they arrived. Suddenly, in the system with approved seals, neither did have job history or prior records. It's just so dang sloppy. When Paige snuck into the garrison, she did things right. She created a full alias, a name, forged records from previous schooling, an application, letters of recommendation from sources that were forged, the whole works. Her file was so airtight that even Iverson could glare at her like he knew who she was, which can be a very long leap of faith given she looks just like her brother, could argue about her presence here. Then these two show up and their work is mediocre at best. It's infuriating, not to mention weird things. The way their eyes kind of glimmer, like crystals sometimes, or how occasionally Laura's ears will pointed, or those marks on their faces. Paige swears she's seen them. Like little triangles that kind of glow sometimes, just beneath their skin tone. At first, she thought it was a trick of the light, but she caught Laura wandering the halls late at night once and got a full look at those pink marks. It's weird. The worst part, Paige can't call them out about not belonging here, sneaking in because that would be hypocritical. What a scoop. She shoves her tray of suicide. She'll admit it's gotten better since Hawk started helping Cran, but seriously? Cool? And stands. Shouldering her laptop bag, she ducks out of the cafeteria, following the familiar route to the off-limit stairs that lead to the roof. She gets there with little trouble. She knows the patterns of people. Keeping her head down makes it easy to slip past them. Being small makes it easy to hide. She knows the key code for the lock on the door. It wasn't hard to figure out. Once on the roof, she finally takes a moment to breathe. Deep lungfuls of dry desert hair, crisp with the oncoming night. It's peaceful, lonely. Tilting her head back and looking at the stars, she reminded the night spent on the roof with her brother, learning the code he taught her. Then without him, writing to him and her dad in secret messages. She barely pulled out her laptop and booted it up before he hears the familiar voice. You're not supposed to be up there, you know. She doesn't look up and does offer a small scoop huff. I could say the same about you. He sits next to her on the edge of the room, one knee pulled up and the other dangling over the edge. How did you know I'll be here? I saw you pass by the teacher's lounge, he says, despite the mild amusement in his voice. He sounds tired. You're not as subtle as you think you are. Most people don't pay attention enough to notice. Now it's his turn to speak. Most people are idiots. She glances sidelong at him, watching as he leans back on his arms, eyes narrow at the sky, bathed in blood as the sun sets. She knows he's glaring at the stars, but they can't quite see it, cursing them just as she does. They're blind because they refuse to acknowledge possibilities, like a student sneaking around, or like aliens kidnapping a crew to Kerberos. He doesn't respond, but she sees the tension of his jaw, the way he purses his lips to a small, frustrated frown, the pinch in his brows and the haunted mind in his eyes. She sees the pain he hides because she feels it herself. The first time she came up here and saw him glaring at the stars, she knew she was looking at the mirror of herself. She knows he sees the same in her. She wasn't the only one who lost someone when the Kerberos scene was declared missing. She lost a father and a brother, but Adams lost his best friend, his fiance. She never thought she'd make friends with the teacher, but here she is. He knows who she is and keeps her secret. She offers him a listening ear when the others have already tuned him out. He hugs her when she can't stop the tears from falling. And most importantly, he doesn't call her crazy when she talks about aliens. Have you found anything new lately? He asks after a moment, already hearing Paige's fingers tap across the keys. Yes, actually, she says, turning her screen around so she can see the graphs, pushing her glasses up her nose. Remember when I said I found strange activity in the atmosphere a couple weeks ago? His brows furrowed thoughtfully, honestly. Yes, we intercepted strange radio signals and unfamiliar radiation in the atmosphere. Right. And after pulling the Garrison records from the nights the Kerberos team went missing, which I don't know about, her lips quick into a small, knowing smile. Right, which you have no idea I can do. After pulling those records and comparing them, I found a lot of similarities. Something changed to that expression, something she knows all too well. Fear, the fear of hope. They're the same, he whispers. She's quick to shake her head, her own expression pinching her suspicion. No, not the same, but it's closer to that than anything we have here on Earth. So you think, I think it's an alien tech, she confirms with a nod. Adam is the only one she trusts with her theories. He listens to all of them, and instead of brushing her off, he double-checked her findings, helped her gain easier access to Garrison's files and technology. He doesn't think she's crazy, even though he's never said it out loud. He thinks she's right, or at least onto something. He told her point blank that he refuses to believe that there was a pilot error when Cheryl was a pilot. Not to mention her dad and brother were smart enough to somehow get a message out before they went down. They're both flying on blind faith and aimless hope, and they both know it, driven and clinging to the knowledge that their loved ones are capable, refusing to think otherwise, holding on to each other as anchors so the chaos of grief can't sweep them away. But I don't think it's the same alien tech, she continues, looking back to her laptop. Something entered the atmosphere a few weeks ago, and figuring out what that was might lead us to finding out what entered our solar system the day the Kerberos team disappeared. What you need? He asked, stern and resolute, never down her, always pushing them both forward. I need help deciphering some of these radio signals. She scoots a little closer to him, passing over her notebook and a pen. He takes them, as he has many times before. His handwriting fills up those pages just as much as hers. Also, she adds after a moment, hesitant as she debates whether or not to say anything, whether her hunch is good enough. Do you think anything weird about the new cadet and cafeteria guy? Yeah, let's roll. You mean besides the food goo? I definitely mean including the food goo. Okay, so I don't remember about it, but I kind of read about this. Well, Paige has been a lot going through. Before that was Katie, but she got caught and then she decided to change her name to a different name, like Paige Gunderson. So she went down, find where this little codes, deciphering, because there's a ship, the spaceship, like coming down from the atmosphere, and there's this unknown signals, radio signals that come from another planet. There might be some aliens, and then Adam came right into it. If you don't know who's Adam, it was supposed to be Shira's fiance. This is a before Shira met them, but they hadn't met. They met Shira, but in this particular fic, pretend they never met Shira at all. So they're working together to find out where are these aliens staying, and there's this radiation, and this ship is coming down from the atmosphere, entering it. So, there is some information that connects that there's aliens out there, but actually it was Allura and Coran came down here to Earth because they want to find a lion. But Paige and Adam, they're on something. This might be something that definitely leads to what happens to the Kerbos. This is nice. It's great. You sure you're gonna be all right, buddy? Hunk's voice is a word whisper. Muffled as Lance shovels deeper into the vent. Yeah, I got this. Don't worry, Hunk. It was just at how his voice echoes in the metal confines, turning his head as much as he can and lowering his voice further. He says, just close it up behind me, but keep the screws loose. I know the drill, Hunk mutters, and I get simmer as the metal grate is put back over the vent. Just try not to be out so late this, okay? I'll be back before you know it, he says with confidence, already crawling forward, and I'll bring you back your favorite snack cakes. You better. You're the best. Honestly, he left for Hunt to come with him, but their usual methods of sneaking out are covered tonight, and the only way out are the vents, which are too small for Hunt to squeeze through. So Lance finds himself on a solo outing, which admittedly isn't as fun, but he's come too far to back out now. Besides, he already promised Laura he'd find her something shiny in town. He wishes she'd come with him too, but she politely declined. Maybe next time. He hopes next time. He shovels through the ventilation system, pausing occasionally when it reaches crossroads to pull back his left sleeve to check the map scribbled hastily on his forearm. Right, he mumbles to himself. Get out of here, get to town, find something shiny to impress Allura, get hunk snacks, get the new killbot Benson, make it back before curfew. Easy peasy. The only sound is a gentle hum of electricity and the gentle breeze of air. He's done this enough to know how to keep quiet, but his own muffled moments are hard to mask completely. He slows when he passes over rooms, peeking down into them through the vents and being extra careful when he sees they're occupied. It's easy to fall into the groove of things. Sneaking out isn't new to him, out of the house or out of the garrison. They're all the same, really. He's so lost to the groove, in fact, that he doesn't notice the sounds that shouldn't be there. The extra muffled movement growing louder and louder. He doesn't notice until it reaches his corner and turns left just in time to see a blur of black and a flash of red overtake his vision. He jolts in surprise, but not before the pain blossoms across his head. Ow! He trails off in hiss, reeling back and reaching up to rub at his forehead. Glaring from his hand, he looks up, teeth clenched. Hey, watch where you... Cave? There, right there, right in front of him, on all fours, hunchback and rubbing his own forehead, dressed in all black, save for that stupid bright red crop top leather jacket. the one that looks stupidly good on him. Dark hair, a mess, and a grimace on his sharp features. Is Keith Cogney. He looks up at his name, a pout pursing his lips, and a scowl furrowing his brows. Do I know you? Lance hand drops. So that may be a little bit too loud on the melody. But seriously? Uh, the name's Lance, and he just comes to stare. Lance lets a brow. We were rivals, Lance and Keith, neck and neck. Something flickers across Keith's expression. Something too fast for Lance to catch before it's stealing itself back into half scowl, half pout. But he swears there's a dust and paint across his high cheekbones. Right, you're that cargo pilot. Lance huffs, something in his chest tightening like shame, barbed with defensive pride. Yeah, well, it's fighter class now, thanks to you washing out. Another flicker of something else, something sadder. Right, he grumbles, triumphant. Well, congratulations. Speaking of you washing out, he pauses, and nods and gives the confusion as he glances around. What are you doing in the bench? Keith bristles before firing back. I could ask you the same question. Dude, Lance leans forward, whispering conspiratorially, eyes wide and smirks starting to tug at his lips. Are you sneaking into the garrison? He leans back, putting space between him. He's glaring, but there's definitely a flush on his cheeks. Are you sneaking out of the garrison? Yeah, I was. Nothing new there. Is this new for you? He remains silent. Let's burst. It is. Something akin to excitement bubbles beneath landscape. Something like adrenaline. Getting is they can't quite contain. Because this is Keith. You never thought to see Keith again, but Keith is here in this event with him. Keith sneaks into the garrison, and Lance caught him, which means Lance has some power, which means Keith can't ignore him. Tell me why. No. Dude, come on. He rolls his eyes, trying not to admit. We can be conspiracy buddies. I caught you, you caught me. We're practically partners in crime right now. No. No. Something wicked curls across Lance's lips, a smirk that feels smug within fish. Well then, guess you're not going anywhere. He blinks. What? Lance shrugs, smile never fading. I'm in your way. You can't move forward without me moving first. And if you shoot me backwards, I'll just follow you. He says narrow. Seriously? Seriously? He sighs, eyes twisted shut. Why are you so annoying? Just tell me what you're up to, Kiwi boy. He purses his lips, huffing as he opens his eyes and looks away. There's a heavy pinch between his brows, shoulder tense. On the bottom of the vent, his hands curl into fists. You wouldn't believe me anyway, he murmurs. Try me. You just make fun of me. Lance shrugs. Can't deny that one. Instead, he just reads. Try me. I saw something weird enter the atmosphere a few weeks ago. Keith bites out between clenching. He says it quickly, sharply, voice hard as if daring Lance to contradict him. Stares right into Lance's eyes and holds him captive with that fire in his lower signature. I picked up on some weird readings. They're similar to this weird energy reading I've been studying in the desert. So I've come to investigate it. He's tense, eyes unblinking, clearly expecting Lance to laugh at him, to call him crazy. He said, if I'm still saying, so why are you here? He blinks, frowns, seems to loosen up just a little. I found a ship, one that isn't Garrison issue. I don't recognize the technology, but it was hidden in nearby. The Garrison is the only place for miles, and tracks were leading here. Lance lifts a brow, slowly, curiously, trying to process what he isn't saying, but he's dancing around. Dude, he finally says, are you thinking there's an alien in the Garrison? He tenses me. Don't laugh at me. Whoa. Shh. He hastily reaches forward, slapping a hand over Keith's mouth. He starts and glares at Lance, but Lance keeps grip firm. We're in the vent, he hisses. We're gonna keep your voice down. Pulls away slowly. Make sure Keith isn't about to start shouting again. ignoring the way his palm and fingertips tingled. Keen's skin had been so warm, a little rub from stubble going in, and his lips. Right, he shakes his head, right back on. Come on, Keen blinks, tilting his head like a lost freaking puppy. Uh, what? Lance rolls his eyes because the only real defense when his stomach is doing flips. I said, come on. Where are we going? He asked, uncertain but following after Lance anyway as he awkwardly shuffles backwards. To my room, he flashes Kate a quick grin. If you're looking at energy readings and stuff, then you should talk to my roommate Hawk. He's into all that sort of mechanic-y stuff. You're going to help me? Yeah, he is. Especially if it means seeing Keith longer. Spend more time. Make sure Keith remembers him. Make sure Keith never forgets. Maybe getting to say goodbye this time. Maybe getting some gratitude. Maybe getting to keep in touch. Yeah, he says, shrugging like his heart isn't tearing itself to ribbons on his ribs at the sight of Keith crawling after him. Got nothing better to do. He wants to see where this goes. Okay, so Lance and Hunter and the vent. Well, Lance is doing by himself, focusing on the vent that was trying to work on for like that long. And then all of a sudden, he is in the way, wanting to find out what this thing is going on. Because he went back to the Garrison like a few months before this happened. They finally get themselves back and look in the eyes of each other, and they finally recognize it too. So they have so they're talking about the ship where this ship that was landed on, and I wanted to find this little readings that was from a different language, maybe an alien language, or maybe I think that's how it goes. So Lance glad that Keith is back just for this little mission, and that's where they're probably gonna start this little mission 1, mission 2, or something, well, some task at hand, because there is a shit going on. I don't know what that is, but we already know where that ship was coming from, because that was from the beginning of that story, in this one shot. All right, let's go. When Keith made the impossible decision to break back into the garrison, this is the last place he expected to end up, in Miles McLean's room. The boy who always on his butt about one thing or another, always glaring and pouting at him from across the room, always pushing his buttons, but not in the same way others did, not like James Griffin who made Keith's blood boil with rage. No, the frustration where he felt with Lance was always different. Thinking back on it now, with a clearer head and more steady heart, he realized that Lance might have been the closest thing he's ever had to a friend. Not that he would ever tell him that, especially now that he's made a big deal about being Luke and forgetting about him. But it's not his fault. The events were dark, and he had been startled. Not to mention Lance has really grown up in the past year or so. He hated growth spurts. All his childhood roundness, tiny over broad shoulders, long legs, and sharp features. Looking at him now, he stomach did weird flips, hearts racing in ways that was entirely to do with frustration, but not to a kind King is used to. It's frustrating. Lance is frustrating. Ugh. And now he's in Lance's room. Well, Lance and Hunks, pacing the small room while he waits for them to return. Every second spent back here floods him with nostalgia and twisted memories, making him feel homesick and just plain sick all at once. This is where Shiro saved him, but this is also where Shiro left him. Restlessness burns beneath his skin, itching relentlessly. He doesn't know why he let Lance convince him to stay there, waiting, while they go get more people to help. They don't need more people. It's bad enough that Lance and Hunk had already been wrapped in this. He wants to mind. He wants to be annoyed that they just sort of butted in and took charge and refused to let him go off alone. But he also sort of maybe appreciates it, appreciates how they listened to him, what is found in the desert, all the weird energy stuff, and they didn't laugh at all, didn't judge him. Hunk even recognized something called a Fraunhofer line. And now they're both excited and going to get more help. And Keith never expected this to be more than a solo thing, but maybe it's not so bad. Whoa, wait, Keith says, pausing mid-stride to listen. He's not entirely familiar with that voice. It sounds young. What's she doing here? Oh, Pitch, be nice. That one is Hunks, layered with worry and warning. You told me this was top secret. How do you know we can trust her? Because I trust her, Lance. Something inside Keith bristles at the sound of his voice. Something doesn't want to look too hard at. Besides, Keith was talking about some weird energy in the desert, and Alora's talked about the same thing. A soft gasp, then a heavily accented voice doesn't recognize. Someone else has felt that energy? Yeah, Keith said he's been trying to find the source of it. Door opens, and they all enter. Lance and Hunk slip into the room, gesturing the others inside. A short boy. Girl? He's not sure. Doesn't think it matters. Not when they look staringly like Matt Holt. His eyes fix on them immediately, meeting their curious stare as they size him up. Is this the kid you never got to say goodbye to? Haha. So he rips his gaze away from the short one. Lifts in the brows, he finds a girl with dark skin and white hair standing next to Lance. Her eyes are wide, but quickly furrow into a small frown as she glares at him. His hand is slapped tightly over her mouth, and he looks tense, face alight with false bravado. Anyway, he continues, a little louder. Keith, this is Paige and Allura. Guys, this is Keith. Allura slaps his hand away, and Lance takes a step toward Keith, pouting in her direction as he shakes his hand. And then he's at Keith's side, resting his elbow on Keith's shoulder, leaning into him like they're old friends. Keith, tell him what you told us. And with a glare and a sigh, ignoring the way his heart skips a beat at Lance's touch, he does just that. Okay, so they finally ganged up, basically. So they finally meet up and figure out what's all sort of this puzzle thing going on. And this is where start to fill up with what was going on with that ship and how did it became happen or something like that. So this is really good. This is very interesting. Now they finally got something going along and meet with each other. So it's great. At the Garrison though, this is real nice. People are trying to help because this is not a solo thing. This is multiple people who want to help out with this sort of this puzzling stuff and figure out what will be the first thing they want to do. And now that this ship thing going on, and this is really good. They finally started to come along or something. Anyways, let's just finish up. Whoa, 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 Hunk says, waving his hands in front of him, shaking his head to clear it. Recalibrate, process. He stops, hands held in front of him, and his fingers point upward. Let me get this straight. His eyes dart between everyone in the room. Keith leaned up against the wall, arms crossed over his chest. Lance sitting on the edge of his bed, Laura in his chest chair, is sitting on the floor with her laptop. He takes a deep breath. He does his best processing out loud. It helps keep his thoughts in order. You're saying that Allura and Coran are aliens, Alteans, but yes, I suppose aliens from your standpoint. Right, Alteans, who have been asleep for 10,000 years. And there's been a giant space war across the universe where another alien race has been on a rampage. The Galra, Pitch pipes up. Yeah, the Galra, who might have actually been in our solar system recently. According to readings, Allura and Coran picked up when they came here, and by recently, I mean a little over a year ago, which will line up with the Kerberos mission, he says darkly, expression pinch and lips pursed, continuing in a mutter. I knew it! I knew it! It wasn't a pilot error. Across the room, Key bristles with the same sort of tension. which means they could all still be alive somewhere. It seems to be more to himself than others. Eyes as he stares to the floor. Yeah, and the Gara are bad news, and the only way to stop it is with a giant Altian space weapon that has 5 pods. Lions, apparently, Lance is going to add. Lions, and one of them is supposedly hidden on Earth, and they followed the signature here. And both Key and Pitch noticed them entering the atmosphere a few weeks ago, which is quite impressive and might odd. Blair says, we did our best to hide our energy signatures within your natural Earth radiation and radio signals. The fact that you both managed to notice our entry at all is quite a feat, especially given the fact that you don't have a lot at your disposal. Pictures. People don't see things they don't think are possible. Key grunts disagreement. So Allura and Coran have infiltrated Garrison in hopes of finding clues to this lion piece. The blue lion, Lance cuts in. But the Garrison has no idea it exists, Pitch continues for. I haven't found a single trace of something like that in their databases, which is unfortunate, Allura says with a small disappointment. But it kind of sounds like Key might be onto something. Han concludes by turning to Key, as does everyone else in the room. He seems startled by the sudden intention, but shrugs. Could be. I've seen a lot of paintings in the caves surrounding the big lions, what could be seen as aliens. Ancient civilization that must have grown around the blue line, Blur breathes, keeping her location safe. Hungless brow. From what he's gathered, the line is no more than a mechanical piece, a spaceship weapon thing. Her? Blur does seem to have heard him. How soon can you take us there? She asks Keith. He pushes off the wall. Now, I have maps of the areas I've searched in my camera. We can narrow search from there. I think I could build something that could help us, Hunk says, lifting a hand, smiling sheepishly as they all turn to him. If Keith really does have the energy signature of this line, then I should be able to reverse engineer a sort of detection device so we can find it. Like a metal detector, he says, thoughtful, excitement building as Sir grins for his wife. But for lines, exactly. Hunk, you're a genius, Lance claims, being with pride. Thanks. His slams the laptop shut, shoving it in their bag before quickly getting to the phone. I'm going to get Adam. Wait, Adam? He echoes, essentially snapped to pitch. Wait, who? Lance asked. Uh, Commander Wright, Pitt says, voice hard, eyes ready for three. Hunk knows that look. It's the look of a million thoughts sparking away in that brilliant mind of theirs. He's going to want to come with us, and he can probably get us some garrison vehicles to get out there. Why will we bring a professor? Lance is ready on his feet, hands waving in the air as he talks. I thought we agreed to not let the garrison in on this. They'll just take over and probably take Allura and Coran in for questioning, and take the lion because Adam wants to find Cheryl, it snaps, leaving no room for argument as they stare Lance down. Adam's coming. Lance opens his mouth to protest, but Keith beats into it. I agree. They all look to him, surprised. But Keith hasn't looked away from Bitch. If he hasn't given up on Cheryl, then he's coming. Bitch lips first, but there's the ghost of a smile there as they nod. Laura stands, straightening her uniform and lifting her chin. There's something about her that seems almost regal. For them, she holds herself high and with strict confidence that Hunk can't help but respect. Right, Pidge, we find this Adam person and procure some transportation. I'll go find Coran, showing me a loading bay in truck. What's the word? 30 minutes? Lance smirks, arms crossed over his chest, weights leaning to a cop tip. Hunk knows that smirk, the excitement bubbling behind his eyes. The thrill and anticipation of adventure of something new is contagious, and despite his own apprehensions, Hunk can feel it too. The excitement, the buzz in his veins, the strange feeling that something is going to happen soon, something big. Whatever we discover out there in the desert, it's going to change everything. Aliens, space wars, spaceships. Nervousness makes his stomach churn, but it's no match for the eager bite of endless curiosity, fueled and egged on by the confident smirk of his best friend. Sounds like a plan, Lance says, holding his hand out. Hung is there in a heartbeat, putting his hand over Lance's. They both look to Pidge, who roll their eyes but smiles as they add their hands to the pile. Allura looks confused for a second, but follows him. Then they all look into Keith, who glowers a lot of them. I'm not doing that. Lance rolls his eyes. Come on, Keith. He reaches out, snatching Keith's wrist and tugging him forward, forcing his hand onto the ball. You're part of this team now. Hey, we should have a team name. Allura strains a little at that. Something in her expression shifted. Something coy. Something a little sly. Something breathlessly excited as a small smile curls her lips. I might have a suggestion for that. She looks around the group. How about Teen Voltron? Voltron, huh? Sounds fancy. Sounds spacey. There are mumbles and shrugs of consent around the circle. All right, Lance says, drawing their attention back with his boundless enthusiasm. When I say Vol, you say Tron. Vol, and they all throw their hands into the air, letting out an elated chorus of Tron. All except for Keith, who stands with his hands still raised, confusion furrowing his brow as his head tilts. Voltron? Lance asks, resting his elbow once more on teacher. We'll work on it. Alright, that is it. I have just finished the second half of the story, but finally get the point of what the entire story is about. So this final part, they're all coming in together to find this blue line, and that's where they're gonna start on this one. But this is the alternative beginning to where the story is gonna go, right? Yeah, it's gonna go, or the story is gonna take us to this little position, something like that. But hey, that's how I want to start. How it's supposed to start from the season one, where that season one's gonna go by. Okay. All right. So the next one read is the NCW one shot. I already spun that already because that video is corrupt. I'm not gonna spin it again. So what I ended up, if I remember it correctly, which is Lost in Blue. That is where I'm gonna read the next one. And that's gonna be NSW. So all right, guys. Well, that's the end of a regular one shot. I will see you next time for an NSW one shot. Okay. All right, guys.